Every interaction is a battlefield, every glance a potential threat, every word a hidden maneuver. The moment you step into a conversation without awareness, you enter a war you cannot see. Each person carries intentions, fears and desires beneath the surface, a fortress of motive waiting to be discerned. Those who fail to recognize these patterns remain pawns in someone else's game, reacting rather than directing. To read anyone effectively, you must adopt the stance of a general surveying the terrain, scanning for the subtle signals that betray hidden plans. Observe the micro-expressions, the tone shifts, the pauses that punctuate speech. Each is a flag marking the positions of intention. Approach interactions like reconnaissance missions. Scan, analyze, and note deviations from baseline behavior. Missing these cues is akin to walking blind into an ambush. You risk unnecessary exposure and loss of influence. Calmly identify inconsistencies, then adjust your response to maintain positional advantage. When someone contradicts themselves, resist impulsive correction. Instead, acknowledge their statement with composed neutrality, watching how the truth unfolds through patterns. Control your own reactions first. Emotional restraint is armor. Maintain a steady gaze and measured voice to project presence. Others will inadvertently reveal more under this silent pressure. Prioritize observation over premature action. The more information you gather, the more confident your decisions. Weak, react immediately. Strong, pause, observe, then respond. Weak, assume intentions. Strong, confirm through patterns. Collect data without judgment, note alignment or deviation, and treat every interaction as a strategic operation. Each conversation becomes an opportunity to map intentions, predict behaviors, and identify alignment or conflict. Close each engagement with clarity, knowing that mastery is cultivated through disciplined observation, not coercion. Position yourself as the calm center of the battlefield, unshaken and authoritative. Internalize this principle daily. Watch carefully, measure accurately, move deliberately. Repeat the mantra silently. I see all, I remain unshaken, and minds reveal themselves. Your mind is the throne upon which all perception rests. Without mastery over your own thoughts, emotions, and biases, every attempt to read another becomes blind maneuvering on a battlefield you cannot control. Awareness of your internal state is the foundation of psychological intelligence. Begin by observing yourself relentlessly. Note the patterns in your reactions, the triggers that provoke haste or fear, the assumptions that color your judgments. These are your internal sentries. Without their loyalty, every external observation is vulnerable to distortion. Train your attention as a weapon. Sharpen focus until distraction is a recognized enemy. Mental clutter dulls insight, and the faintest signals from others can slip by unnoticed. Develop a cognitive armory through disciplined routines, structured reflection, dedicated journaling, and methodical analysis of your thoughts. Daily internal reconnaissance exposes blind spots and patterns, revealing the terrain of your own mind before you attempt to map the intentions of others. Recognize your impulses and tame them, for unchecked reactions broadcast your state more loudly than any words. Apply this rigor to disagreements. If someone challenges your perspective, resist defensive urgency, observe their tone, register their cadence, and respond with calm authority, steering the exchange like a general repositioning forces on a contested field. Weak, respond with emotion. Strong, pause, measure, reply strategically. Every micro-reflection compounds. By cataloging your cognitive tendencies, you convert scattered awareness into strategic clarity. Use this clarity to anticipate behaviors, decode subtle cues, and act with foresight. Internal mastery commands external perception. Rehearse these habits daily. Your throne is both shield and vantage point. From this elevated perspective, the actions and intentions of those around you become discernible, not through coercion, but through disciplined observation. Control your mind as you would an army, and every interaction transforms into a calculated engagement, every conversation a reconnaissance mission. Commit to this regimen consistently, and your mental sovereignty becomes unassailable. The discipline to observe, sharpen, and reflect ensures your perception remains precise, responsive, and commanding. Internal reconnaissance is not optional. It is the foundation of influence and understanding. Position yourself as the calm center of your cognitive empire. Let observation, focus, and self-awareness govern every engagement. End each day with one immutable command: I rule my mind, and all minds reveal themselves. The morning is the first battlefield of your day, where the mind either sharpens into a weapon or dulls under distraction. Begin with rituals of readiness, structured routines that prime awareness, strengthen focus, and prepare your senses for reconnaissance. Each action, from the first sip of water to deliberate movement through your environment, is a rehearsal for the mental engagements ahead. The guard against emotional drift. Moods in the early hours set the tone for perception. If you allow frustration, lethargy, or anxiety to take hold, subtle cues in others become invisible, hidden behind the fog of your own instability. Establish emotional armor by maintaining calm, deliberate breathing, and clear intention. This stability forms a shield, allowing you to detect intentions without bias or distortion. Practice reconnaissance through small interactions. A brief greeting, a measured response to a message, or observation of colleagues' tone and body language. Treat these encounters as low-risk exercises in reading intent, noting inconsistencies and patterns without judgment. In a recent meeting, a teammate challenged a proposed strategy aggressively. Instead of reacting defensively, you acknowledged their point, observed the underlying concern, and steered the discussion strategically, maintaining authority without confrontation. Weak, immediate rebuttal, fueled by irritation. Strong, measured acknowledgement, redirection, calm control. Recognize that mornings are a crucible. Discipline in these hours compounds throughout the day, enhancing your ability to anticipate behaviors, decode subtle emotional signals, and act with foresight. Execute every movement and thought with intentionality. Begin your day like a general surveying the field before battle, mapping threats and allies, noting positions and intentions with clarity. Each morning becomes a training ground, each minor engagement a sharpening of perception. Commit to these routines, and your mind transitions from reactive to proactive, observing before being observed, and before being misunderstood. Let the first light strengthen vigilance, fortify composure, and expand awareness, so that every interaction becomes an opportunity for reconnaissance and insight. Rule your morning, and the rest of the day bows to your preparedness. Close each dawn with this command: I own the first light, and all minds reveal themselves. Stillness is the unseen blade in every conversation, cutting deeper than words ever could. Sit firm, silent, and alert. Your calm presence draws out intentions without a single syllable. The power of pause commands the battlefield of interaction. When others speak to fill emptiness, they reveal motives, patterns, and vulnerabilities. Do not interrupt the flow. Let words crash around you like rivers against stone, while your mind maps every movement, every hesitation. Observation over speech transforms ordinary listening into reconnaissance. Notice micro-expressions, shifts in tone, and pauses. Each subtle twitch or choice of phrasing is intelligence you harvest, information that arms you for future engagement. Invisible pressure is the tension you generate through deliberate quiet. By refusing to react immediately, you force opponents to reveal themselves, exposing inconsistencies and lapses in judgment. A colleague challenged your proposal aggressively. Instead of matching intensity, you remained unmoved, nodding thoughtfully, prompting them to clarify and over-explain, thereby revealing their uncertainty. Weak, immediate defense or argument. Strong, controlled silence, attentive observation, mental calculation. Master this stillness as a predator observes prey, patient, unyielding, and ready to act at the precise moment. Maintain internal discipline. Do not let discomfort tempt premature speech. Your silence is not absence, it is presence, heavy and strategic. Each conversation becomes a testing ground for mental acuity, a field where observation outweighs impulse. Recognize that people often speak more when they feel pressure to fill space, and that silence magnifies this tendency. Train yourself to hold the line without compromise, capturing information while conserving energy. Every pause is a maneuver, every quiet nod a repositioning of influence. Execute this consistently. Let your mind remain the command center, unmoved by chaos, absorbing intelligence and calculating next steps. Rule the conversation through restraint, attention, and strategic stillness. End each engagement with the unspoken authority of a sovereign. I see all, yet reveal nothing. Ruthlessness begins within. Before you can read anyone with clarity, you must purge the mind of distortions and illusions that weaken perception. Identify cognitive flaws as a general survey of a battlefield. Map the terrain of your own thought. Note every ridge of bias and every valley of assumption. Each mental blind spot is an unseen enemy, ready to mislead your judgment and cloud your detection of truth. Remove emotional interference, like clearing debris from a strategic path. Personal attachments and unresolved feelings distort observation, making intentions appear where none exist. Detachment is not coldness, it is precision, the sharpening of awareness into a focused weapon. Observe interactions without filtering them through the lens of approval, anger, or desire. Strategic prioritization dictates that you concentrate solely on what signals intent and behavior, eliminating the distractions of noise, gossip, or irrelevant context. When a colleague dismissed your analysis prematurely, you recorded the conversation without confrontation, noting contradictions and ending inconsistence that revealed their biases. You acted later with calm authority. Weak, react emotionally, and escalate conflict. Strong, detach, observe, catalog, and respond with insight. Let every piece of irrelevant data be discarded. Every observation not tied to intention is removed from your field of vision. Your mental throne must be free of clutter, occupied only by facts and discernible patterns. Train daily. Examine your assumptions, challenge automatic reactions, and note every emotional distortion. Build a habit of ruthless internal review before engaging externally. The battlefield of human interaction rewards clarity, speed of comprehension, and uncompromising focus. Every distraction left unchecked is an opportunity for error. Every unchecked bias is a trap for your perception. Rule your mind before you attempt to rule insight itself. Maintain absolute mental sovereignty and approach every person, situation, and dialogue as a calculated engagement where only the truth of intent matters. Command your cognition as a general commands an army. No unnecessary baggage, no hesitation, no error. Every move you make is deliberate. Every observation has purpose. End with unwavering authority and seal the discipline within. Eliminate all noise, see only what matters. Authority is felt before it is spoken. Command begins with presence. Your posture, gaze, and tone shape the environment, signaling that you are centered, observant, and in control. Controlled projection acts as armor and signals simultaneously. Hold your spine straight, voice steady, and eyes attentive. Every movement communicates intent. When you enter a room or a conversation, measure your influence like a general surveys the field, noting how energy shifts with your presence. Behavioral mirrors serve as reconnaissance tools, subtly reflect gestures, phrasing, and tempo to reveal authenticity or hidden tension. If a team member challenged your assessment of a project's risks, you maintained an even tone, mirrored their posture briefly, and observed their response patterns emerged without confrontation, allowing strategic guidance without coercion. Psychological gravity operates invisibly. Calm, confident energy draws information naturally. Words alone are weak. Posture, expression, and timing carry authority that elicits honesty. Let your voice remain steady, your gaze steady yet not invasive. Weak, hurried explanations and excessive questioning. Strong, composed demeanor, attentive silence, and subtle reflection. Control the room as a predator does its territory, establishing boundaries through presence, not volume. Observe micro-expressions, shifts in tone, and hesitations. These are the cues others often cannot hide. Avoid filling silence. Let your gravity invite disclosure. Practice daily. Enter conversations with intentional posture. Breathe deliberately, and allow others' patterns to surface under your composed attention. Your demeanor becomes a lens through which truth is filtered. Presence dictates perception. Influence flows from stability, not aggression. Maintain consistent alignment of body and mind. Inconsistency weakens authority and invites misinterpretation. Command without pressing, observe without intrusion, and let patterns emerge naturally. Reinforce internal confidence. Let your external projection reflect internal sovereignty. Master the mask of command to draw insight without force, ensuring every interaction is a measured engagement. Seal the discipline with a guiding mantra. Presence is power. Command without word. Precision is born in silence and observation. Adopt the mindset of an inner assassin, a predator that moves unseen, calculates before striking, and never allows distraction to dictate action. Pattern hunting is your primary tool. Contradictions, inconsistencies, and hesitations are signals of intent. Scan conversations like a scout surveying enemy formations. Track the subtle shifts in tone, fleeting expressions, and small behavioral deviations. They are the footprints of hidden motives. Neutralize distractions before they infiltrate your judgment. Charm, flattery, or provocation are tools others wield to divert attention. Acknowledge them, then let them pass without altering your analysis. Mental precision transforms observation into actionable insight. Each deduction must be deliberate. Assumptions weaken accuracy, emotional interference distorts perception, and impulsive judgments invite error. If a colleague attempted to undermine a project with exaggerated claims, you maintained composure, recorded the patterns of overstatement, and adjusted your strategy without confrontation. Weak, reactive judgment based on emotion. Strong, calm assessment informed by patterns. Map interactions as a battlefield. Every conversation is terrain, every statement a potential trap, and your focus must be on the heart of intent. Build internal discipline to remain detached, allowing data to surface naturally. Confirm observations through repetition and cross-referencing, discarding extraneous signals that do not illuminate the underlying structure. Let your mind operate like a surgical strike team, swift, precise, and unclouded. Use micro-patterns to anticipate outcomes, preparing responses before deception fully manifests. Awareness, restraint, and tactical thinking become inseparable. Hesitation and bias are eliminated. Train daily. Observe, catalog, reflect, and refine, turning instinct into a sharpened analytical instrument. Cultivate the predator within, always ready to detect and respond with clarity and exactitude. Seal the methodology with a concise, commanding mantra. Strike mentally, see all, falter never. Your mind is a wolf, sharp, instinctive, and always alert. Feed it deliberately, every day, with observation, experience, and reflection. Begin with daily recon exercises. Move through public spaces as a scout, not a participant. Watch gestures, expressions, and interactions without interference. Note patterns, deviations, and unspoken cues. Treat these observations like ammunition. Each data point strengthens your mental edge. Next, engage in mental conditioning. Simulate scenarios in your mind, imagining how people react under stress, influence, or challenge. Practice predicting their moves, responses, and shifts in tone. Review outcomes to refine accuracy. In these exercises, restraint is as vital as attention. Do not act prematurely. Absorb first, evaluate later. Instinctive accuracy emerges from consistent repetition. Each encounter, each observation, trains your intuition to detect subtle truths before they are spoken. Over time, this becomes a natural extension of perception. Decisions are faster, judgments sharper, and the hidden motives of others more visible. If a colleague attempted to manipulate a meeting with sarcasm, you noted micro-expressions, adjusted your stance calmly, and interpreted intent without engaging emotionally. Weak, reacting to every provocation. Strong, observing, internalizing, responding with clarity. Treat every social environment as a training ground. Public transport, cafes, office corridors, all offer insights when viewed with disciplined attention. Reinforce the habit of reflection each evening. Revisit observations, compare predictions to actual outcomes, and integrate corrections. Do not allow ego to inflate interpretation. Remain humble, precise, and methodical. Your wolf grows stronger when nurtured with disciplined attention, continuous learning, and repeated practice. Guard it from distraction, nourish it with mental rigor, and let instinct merge with experience. Sharpened by deliberate feeding, your intuition becomes a weapon of clarity, enabling you to navigate human behavior with unrivaled precision. Seal your practice with a commanding mantra: feed the wolf, see all, falter never. Life unfolds like a chessboard. Every interaction a square, every decision a move, and every relationship a piece with purpose. Begin by mapping relationships. Visualize connections as a grid, where allies, rivals, and neutrals occupy predictable spaces. Observe patterns in communication, collaboration, and conflict. Treat each link as both opportunity and vulnerability. Next, anticipate predictive moves. Consider how colleagues, friends, or competitors will respond before they act. Forecast reactions using prior behavior, tone, and incentive. Just as a grandmaster calculates several moves ahead, estimate consequences of choices, both overt and subtle. Apply restraint when necessary. Sacrifice and gain often accompany patient observation. A pawn held back can reveal the queen's intentions. Silence can extract more than immediate action. If a team member challenges a decision, you note body language, choose neutral phrasing, and redirect focus strategically, preserving authority while encouraging transparency. Weak, reacting defensively. Strong, observing, absorbing, responding with measured control. Maintain this analytical perspective in every environment, from office dynamics to social gatherings. Record and review patterns: who initiates, who follows, who manipulates, who retreats. Each insight sharpens strategic foresight. Blend patience with calculated initiative. Intervene when necessary, withhold when advantageous, and always maintain clarity of intent. Avoid impulsive moves driven by emotion. Treat every interaction as a tactical engagement. Let the chessboard guide decisions, not ego or haste. Over time, predicting behavioral sequences becomes instinctive. Recognize that small sacrifices, delayed responses, silence, selective disclosure create leverage that yields compounded advantage. Your perception deepens, decisions sharpen, and social navigation attains precision. Seal your strategic mastery with a commanding mantra: see the board, move with purpose, claim your advantage. Discipline is the backbone of perception. Without it, the mind falters under pressure. Forge your iron will like armor for the psyche, tempered in daily challenges that sharpen observation and restraint. Begin each day with targeted drills. Watch conversations from a distance, note micro-expressions, subtle gestures, shifts in posture, record each nuance mentally. Then reflect on patterns. These observations are your battlefield intelligence, each cue a map to intent. Resist the impulse to judge instantly. Pause. Analyze and allow patterns to reveal themselves before reacting. Emotional discipline is not suppression, but mastery. Like a general assessing terrain before engagement, you gain clarity through restraint. Cumulative strength emerges through consistency. Repeated practice compounds. Each controlled challenge enhances patience, refines perception, and conditions the mind to detect subtle signals effortlessly. If a colleague contradicts your interpretation, maintain calm, validate the surface point, and note underlying cues for future insight. Weak, reacting defensively. Strong, observing, absorbing, recalibrating strategy without disturbance. Push limits incrementally, extend observation periods, anticipate reactions without verbal input, and allow emotional triggers to pass unheeded. Integrate these exercises into daily life, treating every interaction as a training ground. Avoid reliance on intuition alone. Combine empirical observation with disciplined restraint. Over time, your mind interprets behaviors like a seasoned tactician reading the battlefield, anticipating maneuvers, and understanding intentions before they are articulated. Trust in the cumulative power of these rituals. The mind becomes a precise instrument, capable of instantaneous insight under pressure. Command your focus, resist distraction, and treat each moment as an opportunity to strengthen resolve. Your psychological fortitude grows silently, imperceptibly, but irrevocably. Seal this mastery with unwavering repetition, reinforcing both patience and precision. Internalize the principle and let it guide your perception relentlessly. Repeat this process without deviation until instinct aligns with trained observation and every interaction yields clarity without effort. Reinforce your sovereignty of thought with this mantra: strength in patience, power in perception, mastery in every moment. Mastery is not declared, it is observed. Move through the world as though the ground itself recognizes your presence. Every gesture, every glance, every pause becomes a silent declaration of authority. Your observation is seamless, integrated into instinct. You perceive motives without conscious effort, anticipating shifts in tone, posture, and intention before they are outwardly expressed. Others act under the illusion of autonomy, while you guide outcomes with invisible influence. Project calm confidence in every interaction and watch subtle cues align in your favor. Your authority is silent, yet it shapes the environment like the currents beneath a still lake, imperceptible but inexorable. Apply these tactics consistently until they become second nature, embedded in posture, expression, and timing. When a colleague challenges your proposal, remain composed, acknowledge their input briefly, then steer the conversation toward the agreed goal without revealing strategy. Weak, over-explaining or insisting. Strong, observing, absorbing, redirecting with quiet control. Strategic immunity is cultivated by understanding the mechanics of human behavior, spotting manipulation before it reaches conscious awareness. Maintain boundaries firmly but invisibly. Compliance arises naturally from respect and clarity, not coercion. Your presence becomes a fortress. Psychological attacks slide off. Attempts at deception are neutralized before they land, and influence unfolds according to your assessment. Blend observation, analysis, and influence until the integration is indistinguishable from natural interaction. Let subtle interventions accumulate: a nod here, a measured question there, a brief alignment of stance or tone. Each action is a chess move on the social battlefield, advancing your objectives while leaving opponents unaware of the pattern. Over time, you cultivate a reputation of untouchable insight. People reveal themselves willingly, their intentions clear, their errors exposed to your discerning perception. Harness patience, remain vigilant, and reinforce every decision with quiet precision. Internalize the principle that true authority is earned in silence, observed in effect, and respected without declaration. Repeat this process until instinct and trained analysis merge, producing immediate understanding of motives and direction. Command your environment by embodying mastery, not asserting it. Strengthen this untouchable presence through disciplined repetition, vigilance, and unwavering composure. Let every interaction refine your capacity to read, influence, and remain unassailable. Seal your practice with this mantra: I move unseen, yet I shape all outcomes. Every move, every glance, every word is now a calculated operation. You have reached the apex, where observation, analysis, and subtle influence converge into an unbroken chain of cognitive dominance. The battlefield of human interaction unfolds before you as a map of intention, and you traverse it with the precision of a general surveying terrain, each decision reinforcing the next. Your tactics are unified, each method supporting the others, reading micro-expressions, gauging tone, discerning underlying motives, all integrated into instinctual comprehension. Small errors no longer destabilize your strategy. They are absorbed, assessed, and corrected with minimal disruption, like a seasoned commander adjusting formations mid-battle. Every conversation is now an exercise in control without coercion, a display of invisible authority that guides outcomes while preserving the autonomy of others. Maintain calm in the face of resistance. When disagreement arises, do not escalate. Observe the hesitation, allow the tension to surface, then redirect with measured language that aligns the discussion with your objective. Weak, arguing or insisting. Strong, observing, acknowledging, guiding silently. Your perception operates like a predator, scanning the environment, every subtle twitch and inflection catalogued, every opportunity for insight seized. The throne of the mind is secure because your influence is invisible yet potent, your authority unspoken yet recognized. Strategic immunity emerges naturally. Manipulation, deception, and the unconscious biases of others bounce harmlessly against your disciplined awareness. Each social engagement becomes a sequence of moves on a chessboard, calculated to anticipate, to exploit patterns, and to reinforce your position. Actions accumulate like compounded power. One insight compounds into another until the web of human behavior is comprehensible in its entirety. Your presence conveys sovereignty without words, commanding attention and eliciting compliance by default, not demand. You balance empathy with detachment, engagement with observation, influence with subtlety. Every pause is deliberate, every affirmation precise, every expression measured. By integrating tactics seamlessly, your mind becomes a fortress and a weapon simultaneously, defensive against deception, offensive in shaping outcomes. Train this rigor daily, refining the synthesis of skills into reflex, allowing instinct to become your operational command. High-stakes mastery is achieved not through force, but through disciplined perception, consistent analysis, and decisive intervention when necessary. The pattern of influence is invisible to all but you, each interaction a step in an imperceptible strategy that advances your objective. The crown of psychological sovereignty rests firmly upon your understanding. Every battlefield, negotiation, and encounter bends under the weight of your comprehension. You act with quiet certainty, letting outcomes demonstrate mastery, not your assertion of it. The final step is repetition until these practices are automatic. Perception sharp, analysis continuous, influence natural. Every subtle cue, every micro-behavior, every hidden motive is catalogued and utilized with precision. Maintain composure, enforce boundaries without confrontation, observe with patience, and allow your presence to dominate discreetly. Every mind you encounter yields insight, Every interaction reinforces skill. Your throne is psychological, your empire intangible yet absolute. Stand upon it with unwavering confidence. Let the world act freely around you while your perception guides and shapes without detection. Internalize and repeat this mantra as both compass and declaration. I perceive all, act unseen, and the mind bends before me. Every interaction is a battlefield, and your mind is the throne from which you command. Observe closely, noting shifts in tone, posture, and expression, as if surveying terrain before a decisive campaign. Analyze each detail deliberately, connecting patterns across conversations, allowing insight to compound like accrued power in an empire. Apply your tactics consistently, measure reactions, anticipate motives, and adjust your approach without hesitation. When disagreement arises, remain composed, acknowledge perspectives without surrendering authority, guiding discussion with calm precision. Weak, arguing to prove dominance. Strong, observing, redirecting, commanding subtly. Integrate perception into every action until reading others becomes instinctive. Each observation, a strategic deployment that strengthens influence without overt force. Let every interaction refine your awareness, transforming ordinary exchanges into opportunities for mastery. Enforce boundaries decisively, yet discreetly. Let your presence communicate authority without aggression. With each observation, internalize lessons and recalibrate responses, ensuring that influence is natural, not forced. Over time, your cognitive framework becomes seamless, decisions intuitive, and insight unassailable. The throne of the mind is secure because you act from comprehension, not impulse. Others bend before your perception because your strategy is invisible yet irresistible. Daily practice compounds effectiveness. Small refinements in attention, listening, and analysis yield exponential growth in understanding and control. Maintain vigilance in subtle dynamics, noticing hesitation, micro-reactions, and contradiction. Your power lies in discretion. Act where necessary, refrain where observation serves better. This disciplined attention ensures that manipulation or deceit from others carries minimal impact, as your awareness preempts disruption. Each social engagement becomes a tactical exercise. Influence is exercised silently, outcomes shaped without coercion, and respect earned through mastery rather than assertion. Commit to this practice consistently, letting perception guide interaction, calculation inform decisions, and composure enforce presence. Command your mental domain as a sovereign commands a realm, undisturbed by chaos, unshaken by resistance. The cumulative effect of disciplined observation and decisive action creates an untouchable posture. Influence is automatic, authority is implicit, and the mind bends before your throne. Repeat this mantra daily to reinforce internal sovereignty. I see all, I understand all, and the mind bends before my throne.